First things first, I'ma say all the words inside my head. I'm fired up and tired of the way that things have been. Oh, ooh, the way that things have been. Oh, ooh.
Here we have a system of equation, and we're going to try solving it using the substitution method. The tip would usually be to solve for one variable and plug it in. But since we already know y equals x minus 1, we can just go ahead and plug it in. So we rewrite 2x minus 3 times x minus 1 equals negative 1. Now we can go ahead and start solving. So we would rewrite 2x, then we would distribute the negative 3, so it would be minus 3x, negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3 equals negative 1. Now we're going to combine the like terms. So 2 plus negative 3 is negative 1x plus 3 equals negative 1. Now we're going to subtract 3 from each side. And negative 1 minus 3 is negative 4. The final step is to divide each side by negative 1. And then we get x equals 4. Now that we know what x is, we have to solve for y. In order to do that, we would plug in x into either one of the equations. I'm going to use the second one. So I would write y equals 4 minus 1, and y equals 3. Now we're going to put it all together, and our final answer would be 4, 3.
Alright, so in this problem, we have a system of equations, and we're going to attempt to solve it using the substitution method. Again, the tip for using the substitution method, you want to solve for one of the variables and then plug it in. Alright, so you want to have one of the variables solved for, or have one of the variables by itself, and then plug that in or substitute it into the other equation. So we're looking at our equation. We have negative 7x minus 2y equals negative 13. And then we have x minus 2y equals 11. If we're looking at a problem just as it's written, none of the variables are by itself. None of the variables are solved for. So we have to attempt to solve for one of them. Get one of the variables by itself. Alright, so the other tip when doing this is that you probably want to go for the variable that has a 1 as its coefficient. Alright, go for the variable that has a positive 1 as a coefficient and solve for that one. Alright, so if we're looking at our coefficients in this problem, we have negative 7, negative 2. If there's no number here in front of this one, you assume that it's a 1. And then, so we have a positive 1 that has this coefficient, and then a negative 2 as a coefficient for the y. Now, if we're looking at our problem, again, the variable that you probably want to solve for is the one that has a positive 1 as its coefficient. So we have this x right here with a 1 as its coefficient. So I would probably solve for that one. And in doing so, that means I have to get rid of the minus 2y, that's right here. And so since it's being subtracted, I'm going to add 2y to both sides. So if we add 2y to this side, we have to come to the other side of our equal sign and also add 2y. And off on the side here, I'm going to write what this gives us. So minus 2y plus 2y, that goes away. And then just on this side of the equal sign, we have x. I'm not going to write the 1 because we already assume that the 1 is there. X will be equal to 11 plus 2y. 11 plus 2y. And these two, it's not 13y, it's not just 13, or we're not adding these two because they're not like terms. So we're just going to write what we have and what we see. All right. So next, I'm just going to rewrite this one over here so we can see this. In our original problem, we have a negative 7. And then I'm going to write this x in red and you'll see why. Negative 7x minus 2y equals negative 13. All right. So now this is what our two equations look like. We have negative 7x minus 2y equals negative 13. That's the same problem just rewritten. And then on this side, we rewrote this one, our second equation, so that we have x by itself, and x equals 11 plus 2y. All right. Now that we have one of the variables solved for, we have one of the variables by itself, now we can just attempt to rewrite this equation, but substitute 11 plus 2y in for x, all right? Since we know what x equals, we can, instead of writing x now, we can write 11 plus 2y. So if we do that, we now have -7, and then instead of writing x, we're going to write 11 plus 2y. All right, so in parentheses, I'll write 11 plus 2y. And then continue writing the rest of the equation, all right? So put the 11 plus 2y there, then minus 2y equals -13. From here, now that we've rewritten our original equation, now all we have is y. We have the equation with only one variable, and we can just solve this equation for y. After we find out y, we can take that value and plug it into here to get our x value, all right? So going along with this, the first thing we're going to do is distribute this -7 into the parentheses. So -7 times 11 is -77. Then -7 times the 2y is a -14y. So after distributing -7 into this parentheses, we're going to continue writing the rest of the equation. So -2y equal to -13. So if I'm looking at it as is, and we're just looking at it, next time I'm going to try to do before we start moving anything left on either side of either of the equation, we want to combine like terms. So if we're looking at it, we have -14y, and then we also have a -2y. So -14y minus 2y, those two come together, and that'll give you a -16y. So now we have -77 minus 16y equals a -13. All right, and since I'm running out of room, I'm going to come over on this side and continue working over there. So now we have, just to rewrite what we have -77 minus 16y equals a -13. Now, I can't combine these two because this doesn't have a y with it, so I leave that alone. There's nothing else to do on that side, so I want to attempt to get this y by itself. Since this is a -77, we're going to add 77 to both sides. So if I do it here, come to the other side of my equal sign, add 77. -77 plus 77, those two go away. We now have -16y equal to -13 plus 77, I believe this is a 64. And then our last step is -16 times y, so to undo the multiplication, we're going to divide by -16, do it here, come to the other side, divide by -16, so that we get y equals 64 divided by -16 will be a -4. Now we're not done because we only solved for y. We also have to find what x equals, all right? So the next thing, the last step for this one is to take this y value, now we know that y equals, go back to our equations. Since we already had x solved for over here, I will plug it back into here. So doing that, we would have x equals 11 plus 2y. We said that y is going to be equal to a -4, so plus 2 times -4, this equals 11. 2 times -4 is a -8, so -8, and we 11 minus 8, which is 3. All right, so we have x equal to 3, we have y equal to -4. Last thing to do is put it all together and put your x first, then your y. So our final answer will be a x +3 and y -4.